What's happening? Of course, you know it's your boy Behind Radio. Shout in as always. I got my podcast partner off in this thing. OG Gangster Wicked, a.k.a. Big Galaxy of Ghetto Mafia.
What's happening?
Hey, man, you know, this hip-hop stuff that we got going on out here in these streets, Wick, we're going into another one of those seasons to where it's getting deadly and people are being arrested left and right. You know, recently, just over the weekend, Sauce Walker was shot along with his artist SaySo P in Memphis. And, you know, it's a lot of stuff swirling around that situation right there. But, you know, all in all, it just turns out to be another situation of hip-hop artists being gunned down in the streets. But to me, you know, it's starting to seem like, you know, it's street stuff by our favorite artists and stuff like that that's kind of, you know, leaking over into each other. You know how it goes in the streets. Then you got Big U, who recently, you know, was indicted and turned himself in last week, and that was big news and stuff like that, and people were like, what's going on with that? I mean, seeing all of this stuff occur, what's been going through your mind with it, Wick?
The first thing that jumps out to me, because I hadn't got to talk to you about all this, is I want to say, before I answer your question, R.I.P. To George Foreman.
And rest in peace to Big George Foreman.
I haven't seen you since he passed, you know what I'm saying? Which, you know, he was a legend.
Exactly.
One of the first to start the healthy eating. A lot of people, you know, that little nugget, they don't realize that. But George was doing that, you know what I'm saying, off the rip. Hey, man, we got to cut the grease out. Remember, I always told you grease has killed more people than anybody. Than gun violence and everything, all heart attacks and stuff from unhealthy eating. So George was on that, you know what I'm saying, years and years and years ago.
Exactly, because even his grill used to drain the grease.
Absolutely. So I want to say R.I.P. to, you know what I'm saying, to the champ, you know what I mean, and his family.
Exactly.
Now getting back to what you were saying, with the Big U and the Sauce Walker situation, you know, they are different. You know, let me go into the Big U first. The Big U, you know, what I kind of want to say to, you know, a lot of the youngins that are watching the show, or you know what I'm saying, the OGs that are still living like, you know what I'm saying, Big U was living. What jumped out to me was the 4 or 5 videos that he recorded on his way to turn himself in. And what I saw was, you know, a man that looked defeated, a man that, you know, that looked scared. And, you know, I don't know him personally, but, you know, there was, you know, a few people came in my comments at the Real Ghetto Mafia when I said something about this, and said, I've since taken the post down, but said, you know, well, Wick, you know, you don't really know what's going on because you ain't from Cali. We out here, blah, blah. And my response was, we have a Big U in every single city in America. We have a Big Meech in every single city in America. We have drug dealers and killers in every single city in America. So yes, and I didn't know him personally, but I know the likeness. You understand what I'm saying? Atlanta has them. So now, with that being said, I think that, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, they're not very bright guys from the beginning. I think a lot of these guys, they lead other guys that aren't very, very bright. And when you have that dynamic, you know, these are the type of things that you get. Also, I think that we're in a dimension right now of genocide on black people. We are, and a lot of people always want to say, you know, well, like with the Sauce Walker situation, where, you know, allegedly, he ran off with money, or he did this or he did that. The same thing with Lil Ronnie. He did something, so the baby died. The list goes on and on with Mo 3. He was firing on people first, and blah, 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 blah. So I don't ever want to sit here and act like it's one-sided. It's not one-sided. It always takes two to tango. You know what I'm saying? But where do we get to the point to where, you know what I'm saying, that we can get past that part? What is the solution for not even getting in the entanglement in the first place? When you're out here and you know, in a relationship, you know, when I was younger, I didn't respect the sanctity of two other people being married, because I could always say, well, you know what, I don't know the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But to stay out of an entanglement to where I have to shoot a female husband, or he want to have to shoot me, then you know what, I just go the other way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're married, I'm gonna respect that, I'm gonna go the other way. If I'm out here trying to do rap and you're doing, this gangster shit, and you doing this right here, I'm gonna go the other way. Nobody really wants to take an L. We talked about that a lot of times.
Thanks.
Everybody wants to beat their chest and you know what I'm saying, and not bag down.
Yeah.
Another problem that we have out here in the community from all this Big U stuff that resonated with me is that I'm seeing a lot of gangsters that feel the need to come on podcasts and tell their crimes. We came up, behind, you know what I'm saying, you from the old school, niggas was scared to use the phone. You understand what I'm saying? Man, you couldn't ask a nigga for a nick of weed on a goddamn phone. Nigga thought you the police. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Niggas I don't cuss out, I be like, nigga, I just want a dime of weed, nigga. Is you that hot? You know what I'm saying? Man, don't be talking on my phone like that, goddamn. Yeah. Now, these gangsters feel the need to come on all these different podcasts that are welcoming them to do it, because they're getting views and clicks off of it. Glad that we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? If we do get some OGs to come on, or some guys that have been to prison or something, it's for a redemption story, not to get on here and boast and brag about families that they have destroyed. You understand what I'm saying? So that's a difference in the Beehive Show than a lot of these other podcasts. And so, and I'm looking at these, some of these podcasts to kind of see what, what's going on. And I see that a lot of the other podcasts are glorifying these gangsters. So therefore, it's making a lot of them come out of the woodworks and come and add more pain to the families that they have destroyed, or even their own family. When I saw Big U, going to turn himself in, everybody else was focused on Big U himself. I was focused on the family that was in the truck, in the van with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It looked like, he had kids in there also, or, young adults that were in there. What was going through their mindset? What does this do for them in the future? I don't know them all personally. I don't know the woman that was talking. I don't know who was in the back. I don't know what their life trajectory is right now. But you know what I'm saying? One thing that I do know is seeing my pops or my uncle, or I'm having to take that long ride that to turn yourself in, and we may never ever see you again. That definitely is not going to help my trajectory, whichever the way it was.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So, the whole thing is just a mess. Like I told you before, what I'm saying, there'll always be a fool that'll come in the comments and they'll justify why we're, wreaking havoc in the community. Well, this person deserved to die. And it's either for me from the old school wick. I get it. You know what I'm saying? If somebody runs off with my $1 million, I would want to kill them. But you know what? I won't give them the $1 million unless I can stand losing $1 million and walk away from it. Then you know what? I won't give it to a person. I tell a person right now, nigga, if you ask me for $20 right now, Beehive, unless I can say you're gonna pay me back Friday,
come on.
Unless I can stand to lose that $20,
come on.
Because Beehive is a possibility. Beehive may not pay me back my $20.
Come on.
I will tell you this, Beehive. I'm giving you the $20. And you say you're gonna get it back Friday. I hit you Friday, but I'm giving it to you because I can stand to lose it if your ass don't give me my $20 back. And we're not gonna fall out about it. And that goes with bigger money also. You understand what I'm saying? So not putting ourselves in these positions is what we have to focus on in the community, so there is no people coming in my comments say, well, a person deserved to get gunned down on the highway. A person, Wick, you defending this side, you don't know this side of what that person did. You understand what I'm saying? And it's crazy. With Big U, I did feel bad for the gangsters and guys and females that are coming out of prison, and now they're going to be looked at with a side eye when they come out and try to set up nonprofit organizations to really help, because that puts a black eye on people that came out and doing the right thing. I would want to bring up somebody like Angela Stanton, not to say that I agree with her political views. You understand what I'm saying? But this is a person that has went to prison, not for what Big U went to, but then came out and set up a stuff, Angie's House. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And have tried to help regardless of her political views. You understand what I'm saying? So people like that, and there's lots of people that have gotten a second chance, that have gone to prison. They're coming out and they really want to go back and talk to do prison reform, talk to the young, keep young black men from going back to prison. Now they're going to be looked at sideways because of guys like you that have taken money and still undercover, 5 feet in the streets and 5 feet, helping, the community. So it's a black eye for everybody in the game. What do you think it's going to be easy now for, if a guy comes out of prison to go to the City Hall of Atlanta, go to Marvin Arrington and ask Marvin Aaron for help? Hey man, you think you can, get the people to, to donate to my nonprofit so that I can keep black kids off the streets, and this big youth stuff is going on right now. People don't want to now nobody wants to touch it, so now the kids suffer. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a black eye in the game. I'm gonna turn it over to you and I'll come back to you with it.
Well, first, we got to wait to see the due process of it all.
Correct.
Because, it might turn out that the man ain't guilty of nothing, and it might just be a lot of hearsay and folks pointing the finger at somebody saying that, you did it.
Correct.
But if he's found not guilty, then now you have stopped him from giving back to the community in the way that he was doing beforehand.
Correct.
So even though, it can look bad right now, we still can't negate the fact that he had to been doing something right in the community to get that son up through the NFL.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? He was doing something.
I agree. I
can't
agree.
say that he wasn't doing nothing
I
in
ain't
the
said
community.
that at all. I said that he was.
Yeah.
When you kind of half and half. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And so we don't know because we weren't there.
Correct.
So it's like, based off of what they're saying, it don't look good now. It ain't looking good for you right now, but it didn't look good for Thug either.
Correct.
Thug's sitting at home right now.
Absolutely.
It didn't look good for Lucci.
Absolutely.
But Lucci's sitting at home right now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It don't look good for Dirk right now. We don't know. He might wind up being at home.
Correct.
So it's like, in these kind of situations, you got to kind of wait to see how justice is going to play out with throughout it all. But, with the streets and hip hop, like you say with Sauce Walker and rest in peace to SaySo P, it's just a sad thing to keep on seeing this happening over and over and over again. And the reason why we're seeing it is because we're not financing other rappers that are not gangsters.
Correct.
So somewhere along the line, it just became cool to be a gangster.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with gangsters out here doing their gangster stuff, but that only represents 5% of the community.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Everybody else is going to work, being a player, having a good time. Some folks might just be stealing, some folks might be just hustling.
Right.
But everybody ain't no doggone gangster.
Absolutely.
And that's not being reflected in the music.
Right.
So with nothing but, gangsterism being reflected in the music, a lot of times, we used to have studio gangsters back in the day, Wick.
Right.
But these guys ain't studio gangsters no more. So you're seeing what's happening in the streets reflecting in the industry.
Right.
And it's a sad situation to be in. But we also got to look at our major labels and investors. What are you investing your money in?
Right.
Are you investing your money in artists that can, transcend the times that we living in right now, that can actually speak for the culture and move the culture forward? You got Top Dog over there. He invested in Kendrick Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick Lamar, I mean, you know, he'll get into a beef if he need to.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, he's still on a righteous path for the most part with his music.
Right.
And he's extremely successful with that.
Right.
So it's like now we got to find ways to pivot the game to shed the light on the people that can lead the culture in a positive way instead of, you know, taking us backwards, because this is not a forward culture that we're seeing right now.
Right.
Every time a young man passes away to gun violence or drug overdoses and stuff like that, that's the culture going backwards.
Absolutely.
So we got to find ways to kind of move the culture forward and also set an example for these young kids coming up so they'll know, okay, it can be cool for me to just be regular and having something to say, or I could just be talented. I don't have to have no street edge to what I got going on. I could just be me and cool out and be great. You know, I think that's what the issue is now. You know, a lot of people are just, because you got a lot of folks that get into this street stuff and it ain't for them.
Right.
And then they find out the hard way that they ain't had no business playing around out there, because you get caught up in the real deal. You know, because you thinking that it's glamorized and you thinking it's fake and it ain't real, and then you find out that it's realer than real. So, you know, I say that to say, you know, young folks watching this and young folks, you know, paying attention out here, make a smart decision with your life and choose righteousness or choose, because see, you know what? Folks be thinking that the streets is the easy way. When you're looking over your shoulder every day you leave the doggone house, when somebody trying to rob you when you're in the middle of hustling, when somebody just want to kill you every 5 minutes, that's not an easy life to be living.
Right.
It's a lot more easier to drive that Uber, to go to Amazon, to be a police officer, to be a politician, to go to work every day, this teacher, whatever it is. It's a lot easier to do that than it is to be in the streets, worried about your life and your freedom on top of that.
Right.
So, you know, I just want folks to understand that, hey, man, there's other options out here other than what's being popularized and glamorized out here, man. And it's just too much. But as for Big U, this is about to be a wild ride. You know, we got to sit back and watch this play out like we got to watch Dirk play out, like we watch Lucci and Thug them play out.
But see, here's the deal. What I want to, you know, and I hear you. I hear you 100%. But I go back to the triangle. This is the trifecta. You have these gangsters that are getting up on these podcasts and airing all their dirty laundry.
Oh yeah. Now,
okay.
Now
and,
I hate to cut you off, but like we talked about with Yella Beezy, it's our fault. These podcasts, we know there are certain codes. I got hours of footage that gets deleted after an interview is done because I tell an artist or I tell a person, hey man, I ain't putting that out. We ain't doing that.
That's what I was about to say with the trifecta. I said you have these guys getting up here. This is the trifecta. And you about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
That feel the need to get on here and tell they spill their dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Then you have the podcast that promotes it. And then you have the fans that glorify it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the trifecta.
And then you got to go with the quadfecta, the feds that pick it up.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So when you have that, you know, going on with those three things, with those three elements right there, nothing good can come out of it. At the end of the day, I don't know Big U's personal situation. I'm going on when I look at it from site to site to site to site, and when you got 1 million people that do know him and are saying the same thing, then you can surmise pretty much the character of a person. Then that doesn't mean he won't beat it. It don't mean that there ain't shit in the game that you don't piss somebody off on top. But if it looks like, you know what I'm saying, smoke, then it ain't a goddamn duck. You understand? We don't know that Puffy did everything that people say. There are a lot of people coming out, you know, with lawsuits that are frivolous. But one thing we do know is millions of people have talked about attending these wild parties, and he has said it himself. So therefore, you incriminated yourself when you talked about your wild ass parties. When you're a guy like Big U, then you get up on these podcasts and talk about, you know what I'm saying, you know, nigga, you need to check in. You know what I'm saying? That Wick didn't say that. B-High didn't say that. Go out right now. If the feds pick me up on something, people will be shocked.
Yeah.
They'll be like, well, you know, I knew Wick was wild. He party every now and then, and you know, and talk a little shit. But you know what I'm saying? I didn't know he was around here extorting motherfuckers. That would be a shock to everybody.
Yeah.
There will be no rappers that are going to come out, or no ball players, or no niggas in the hood. They're going to say, yeah, you know what, he was doing that. There's not going to be any phone calls with mothers saying, yeah, you know, last time I saw my baby and he died, Wick was with him. You understand what I'm saying? So you're not going to get that type of shit from me. No, when you're on these podcasts and these are the type of things that you're talking about, then now you made your bed, you have to lay in it. That does not mean that you won't beat it, and that does not mean that there are aspects to this entire thing that aren't true, because it's always, you know, the truth, a lie, and most of that shit falls somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But one thing about it, bro, nobody's gonna be able to say that B-High was out here extorting motherfuckers, goddamn shooting up nothing. You was at the club at 5 o'clock in the goddamn morning and left with goddamn, you know what I'm saying, 10 hoes. I said, you can't nobody even put you there. Ain't nobody just making up 100% of nothing on someone. There is smoke there, and that's what we got to get rid of, the smoke. What?
So when you got picked up by the GBI,
right? I told you I didn't have any drugs at the time. I hadn't, you know, I was chilling, but you know, everybody pointed me out. That was in the community. It was him. He wasn't selling no dope today. He wasn't doing that today. But he's there every single day when the kids are at school. He's walking around with a pistol. He's goddamn, you know, I can't say for a fact what he was running up to those cars, putting in the cars, and what they were giving him out of it. But I know it, you know what I'm saying, when everybody else was at work, when B-High was at work, Wick was running up the cars.
He was making sure that everybody had the directions back and forth in and out of the project. That's what you was doing. You need to go that way. Don't make that right, because that's a dead end.
And Johnny Cochran would have probably got me off on that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Mr. Cochran, thank you.
You welcome.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, when I came back, scrolled back around that building, and everybody, and I'm going to tell you, nigga, I don't care how real black folks say they is, and they love you and everything. Every nigga out there told on me.
What?
Every nigga. The police say the police just sit back, they ain't got to do no goddamn work. All the motherfuckers that I don't gave, you know, money to and help pay, you know, a bill and all this right here, they was like, that's that motherfucker right there. They are gonna tell on your black ass when the time permits, when you're doing something in the community. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. It's not, I'm not sitting up here advocating for you or Sauce Walker or Lil Durk or Mo 3 that he wasn't doing that or none of this stuff. But like people will let you know, when they're talking about, when I say that, you know what I'm saying, Mo 3 could have been the next CeeLo and he was gunned down. There are millions of people that are coming in to come and say, okay, let's pump the brakes now. Mo 3 was not an angel. You understand what I'm saying? So people are gonna, if he were, then that narrative would be out there. There's a different narrative. There's a narrative out there on him also. Yeah. I'm not here to debate who was a worse villain, Mo 3 or was it Yellow Beezy? What I'm saying is, how do we not even get to that point in the first place?
I agree with you 1,000% right there. That goes back to my favorite word is education. You know, folks act like they're allergic to it sometimes. But that education will allow you to think your way out of any situation to where you don't have to resort to, you know, low frequency or low vibrational stuff to, you know, survive out here in these streets.
Absolutely.
So it's like we gotta, you know, put the emphasis on education out here in these neighborhoods and really push that down these kids' throats until they say, you know what? It's cool to be smart. We gotta have artists though that kind of represent that facet of the neighborhood too, because at the end of the day, we got a mayor, Andre Dickens, a West Side brother, that came from the same hood as Shawty Low and every doggone body else on the West Side, killing like everybody else. But he's the mayor of Atlanta.
MLK.
You see what I'm saying?
Auburn Avenue.
Come on. So it's like, you know, if somebody could reach him and say, yeah, we know you in the middle of all of this neighborhood stuff, but you're gonna be the mayor, or you're gonna be doing this, you're gonna go get an education. He had the same opportunity to do everything else that everybody else was doing.
Absolutely.
So we got to be able to push for education in these communities to prevent it all together. I think the smarter that people are, the better decisions that we gonna damn make.
Yeah, and also we got to strengthen the families. As family members, we have turned our back on a lot of the kids. We're scared to tell them stuff. You know what I'm saying? Go in there and put our hands on them. Hey, look, bruh. No, get your ass in bed. You gonna get up and go. You gonna get up and go to school. These kids back in the day, we thought that talking back and telling your parents what you're gonna do when you shut the door. That was a white thing.
Yeah,
that was white kids say, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
We didn't play that. Oh well, but in the households now we do. We almost the same thing. It ain't. Yeah, a lot of these, a lot of these are single households.
Yeah.
They're females and they're having to work, a lot of them, and the kids are raising themselves.
Yeah.
And it's our responsibility when that situation occurs, when there's a female or a male, and they're raising a son or a daughter, and that person has to be at work to provide for that young man or that young lady. It's our job, the guys that are at home also to push education. That's street education.
Come on.
No, that's the least that I can give you. I can't teach you, biology or chemistry or how to be an astronaut. But what I can teach you is not hanging on the street. Say, look, I know B-High's at work. I know B-High's wife is at work. But I could tell your daughter, no, you're not gonna stand on the street right here. I'm gonna tell your motherfucking daddy.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? Time your daddy leave up the street, you're coming out the house. You would be doing that if he was right here now. Hey, let me call him. You know what I'm saying? Does he know you're out here doing this right here?
Exactly.
See, we got to get back to that family, community family.
Those are facts.
You know what I'm saying? And we have lost that right now. We have lost that right now. We're turning the blind eye to everything. We talking about B-High kids or WIC kids. Oh man, WIC kid bad as a motherfucker, man. I don't know. Well, why don't you help WIC kids? If you see WIC is out here on B-High show trying to push the culture forward, and you see mine is at home doing something wrong or doing something in the streets right there, pull his ass by the coattail.
Exactly.
So let's get your dad on the phone. Let's see if he knows that you're doing this bullshit out here right now. And that's what we done lost.
And also, we need the parents to not think it's cute either.
Right.
Some of these parents think it's cute to raise crazy ass kids.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, my child crazy as hell. Look at my crazy baby.
Yeah.
You better get that Negro in order before the feds get him or the streets get him.
Exactly. They got a place for us. We already know that. And if you don't discipline them, then the prison system will. And that's what they're making millions of dollars off of that. Private prisons are going up every day. If you, I look you in the camera, if you don't get, man, I don't want to be too hard on my child. I don't want, I want them to be able to do what they want to do. They shouldn't have to listen to nobody. Well, you know what? They're going to listen to them folks down the road.
Yeah, to that clink clink.
Exactly.
Y'all heard it. I mean, what are y'all thoughts? What do you think that we could do better in the community to promote more unity and more education and more just sense of community in the hood, man? What needs to occur to make these things happen? I mean, Big Galaxy, you got anything to let these folks know?
Oh, I don't have nothing, Big Galaxy. You know what I'm saying? I'm all talked out and cried out, man.
Talked out and cried out. Get down with the movement. B-High Radio Shout. Big Galaxy. Holler at y'all in a minute, man. We gone.